going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Viall Files. I am your host, Nick, joined by Allie, Amanda. Ladies, how are you?
Good. I feel like I say good every time. No,
So are you
not good.
Should we require you to have a new adjective of how you are?
Yeah, that's a good. Yep, I'll work on that.
We have a great episode for you. The one, the only Taylor Tomlinson.
Thrilling. So thrilling. And I can say I was a huge fan. I came into this with incredibly high expectations and it did not disappoint. The mediation call slapped.
As well as Taylor.
Yeah.
Even before.
Everything.
Yeah.
All about.
Amanda mentioned our mediation call. We have a bit of a celebrity
Mediation call.
Celebrity mediation call. You may know them from TikTok. Is it Maya and Hunter?
Maya and Hunter on TikTok. Hunter does the day in the life of a stay-at-home husband.
He's a stay-at-home husband?
I believe he's currently going to law school, and then she's working full-time, so he does his like stay-at-home husband stuff while she's working.
Gotcha.
But,
well,
yeah.
There's still trouble in paradise, and we are here to help. Very relatable topic. Families and holidays and the pressures about appeasing the in-laws and the problems that causes. So you won't want to miss that. Anything going on in your personal lives that we need to like share with the world? Is new girl gone or?
Yeah, it's not gone. I think we're transitioning to friendship. And she's also going to live with one of my best friends now. That's an update. So we will remain in each other's lives.
Transitioning to friendship.
Yeah.
Certainly goes against one of my core principles of relationships, but hey,
I think a lot of gay women
It's more so
become friends with their exes.
Okay.
Like
It's
there's a lot of
uncoupling.
So I have ignorance in this topic.
Think conscious uncoupling as opposed to breaking up.
Yeah, I think it's also, obviously like there is like a romantic component to like what we were doing before. So I guess in that way it's like very much.
How'd the roommate situation come to be? Were you blessed?
No, so
are you accepting this or?
Well, yeah, like I guess like they were both pretty, especially my like the friend who like new girl is potentially and probably moving in with. Like my friend was really good about like checking in with me and sort of being like, hey, like how do you feel about this? Like is this something you're comfortable with? Like, and this was before I'd sort of like I didn't really I was like really sad and I just like didn't really talk to my friends about like the conversation we had transitioning for a little bit because I was and so then my friend reached out and was like, hey, like I know you're at a really early stage of a relationship, like is it okay if we live together? And I was like, funny you should say that, we're actually not in an early stage of a relationship anymore. And I at first I was kind of like, can we just like give it a month and like see how stuff settles, because like even though it was like we're still trying to be friends and like I think I don't know. I think I was the one who was like it definitely wasn't like I ended things, but like I think I was definitely the one who like came to terms with like really not being in the place to pursue this relationship right now. And so I've sort of felt this like thing of like new girl is like phenomenal. I think of so highly of her. She's shown so much kindness to me. She went above and beyond for my birthday. She was coordinating stuff with my best friend from home who surprised me. So I was like, this is someone who has shown me like a lot of like generosity and care. And like, I think they really would be great roommates. So I want to be in a place where I'm fine with that. But then there's also a little part of me that's like, my friend, mine, you know? And so I was like, I just need to like sit with that. I know that that's childish. I know I can overcome it, but like, that's where I'm at right now. So I was like, can we just like give it a week? And then, or like I said a few weeks, and then I was just sort of like, I'm over it.
I think that's a great, you're being very noble and also hard on yourself. I don't think it would be unreasonable to not be in love with that. It sounds like you're really trying to be understanding, which is great, but.
Well, I think that it's like, I feel like she's earned that. Like, I think with other other situations, I think with other relationships, you have every right to be like, no, you don't get to live with my ex. And I know you guys would be good roommates, but I don't want you to live with my ex. And I guess she's not technically my ex, but like, I think because it was not something, one, that ended in a contentious way, like I didn't feel wronged by her. And because she would just like the standard with which she treated me throughout the whole thing was so high that it's like, how could I not try to do the like personal maturity coming to terms with this fact on your behalf when like you have done so much, you have demonstrated so much emotional maturity and like kindness in service of me is kind of how I feel.
I don't think any of us get to decide what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you can still, you're not saying that you can't do that because you don't have a right to do that, but you're trying to feel positive about it because anyone would have the right to feel like not in love with the fact that someone they dated or thought romantically is now going to be like, oh, okay. Like,
you're living with my best friend in LA.
So we'll be seeing a lot of each other, maybe even more than when we hung out. You know?
Yeah.
Like that would be a normal thing to have a little bit of anxiety about that. And you're trying not to have anxiety. You're trying to be okay with it.
Yeah. Well, because it's like you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. Like New Girl made it very clear that like, because a lot of this was coming down to like me feeling like there were certain things that I like needed to
Did you introduce them?
through. Yes. Yeah. I was very much.
I think you're being insanely generous.
I agree.
Well,
I don't think there's anything wrong, but
even if you ended things, you still don't have to be okay with them living together.
And I think New Girl, she was like, don't say on the podcast that you broke up. So this is me officially setting the record straight. It was a very mutual decision, but I do think it was like she demonstrated more of a willingness to like show like patience and like meeting me where I was at. And I think for me, I was just like, I got really in my head about certain things, feel a huge sense of pressure. So like, even though you're saying like, I will be patient, I can meet you where you are, I will just feel bad for being like, I know that there's another person who is like, whose timeline is affected by mine. And like, that's the very thing that I don't need. So I just feel like, you know, she's like such a goddamn class act.
No,
like it makes me want to be like, okay.
I love that you have nice things to say about her. It's just interesting the way you talk. It's such a fine line between trying to do the right thing and being toxic. I think in general. And it's the way you were saying it, right? Because you were just like, she did all these things for me. There's a sense of obligation that you feel like you have in being okay with it. These are all well-intentioned thoughts and feelings. But I think oftentimes in relationships and breakups, we do that. Well, good luck. Let's get to Taylor. Taylor, welcome.
Nick, thank you.
We're so excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
My audience got real excited when we're like, next week, Taylor Tomlinson. And then, but you weren't feeling well.
I know. I got COVID.
Now you're back.
Finally. I'm so sorry.
But you came right back.
I did come right back. I felt so bad too, because when you DM'd me saying like, hey, sorry you don't feel good, I had tested positive, but I didn't have symptoms yet. And I was like, I'm probably going to be fine. And then I had symptoms like 2 days later, and sorry. It wasn't fun.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't that fun, but we're here now.
You're here now.
Happy, healthy, got through it.
What's new?
I mean, just on tour, just doing it. Just out here.
Is your tour going right now?
Yeah. Yeah, tour's going right now. New Netflix specials out March 8th.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm very nervous.
Wow.
Everyone's like, are you excited? I'm like, I'm always nervous when things come out.
I mean, that makes sense, but you've recorded it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did it go well when you filmed it?
Yeah. It went well.
So when you get nervous about that stuff, like what makes you're just not sure how like the masses will go, like how it'll work in the algorithm. Like what makes you most nervous?
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. You're always like, I hope people like it, but I don't fucking know. And this hour's like more personal. There's like stuff I talk about that I'm kind of like, nah. I mean, my therapist kind of hinted that maybe I should wait, but I didn't, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I think just anytime you put something out that you worked really hard on, like in this business, you're like, if this isn't received well, critically or by your audience or whatever, like that's going to suck real hard. But
I get it. Do they, when they do the comedy specials, I don't know how Netflix works, but like, do they test it out? Like, have you seen it yet?
No. Oh yeah, I've seen it. I was there like editing it.
Okay, you got to be involved.
Oh
great.
Yeah, very much so.
I don't know how it works.
Oh yeah. No, Netflix is great. They like really.
They let you.
Oh yeah, which I didn't know when I filmed Quarter Life Crisis. I was very much like along for the ride. Like they were like, we're gonna pay you, and I was like, what? Like I was so just like, this looks great, awesome, sounds good. And I couldn't believe I got to be involved in editing. I couldn't believe I got final say on everything. And so this time around with the new special, it's called Look at You. And it's like everything it felt very collaborative. Like the director, Chris Mercado, was so amazing and had such like a vision for it. And I really got to be like more proactive, I guess, about what I wanted it to look like and feel like. And I wasn't as, getting pulled behind the cart this time around. I was like, I know how this goes. I know how involved I get to be in the editing. And I know they're going to have like a colorist fix how pale I look. Like, it's like you just don't know any of this stuff before you do it the first time. So I felt like I went in knowing what to expect, which was nice. But yeah, you still don't know if people are going to like it. So.
Oh, Wondery, they're back. Even the Rich. That celebrity podcast that talks about all the tragic lives of the rich and famous. In this all-new season of Even the Rich, hosts Brooke and Arisha are telling the story of Janet Jackson. That's right. She was such a huge celebrity and at the peak of her career when she influenced the likes of Madonna, Mariah Carey, even her brother Michael. She was at the top of the world. And in one fateful split second, her boob popped out at the Super Bowl. It all went downhill from there. And,
she was so well known for other things, and in 1 second, that is just like the memory that is with her.
I didn't even appreciate just how much it did negatively affect her.
You didn't realize like how it...
No.
And also the way it was singularly her and like Justin.
Not Justin.
Justin got no criticism.
Of course,
none.
because
Did not
she's a woman. So now even the Rich is going to lift
let's
that
get
curtain
into it on this
and
podcast.
let's discuss the details.
There you go. So find out more. It's a very fascinating story about Janet, and make sure to listen to Even the Rich and Rich and Daily on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or you can listen ad-free by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app.
I think it would be great.
Thank you. Now I feel better. Now I know.
Do you get to show friends or anything?
I mean, I watched it with my best friend of like 18 years, which was fun because she laughed at all the parts that I like the best, that are more like asides, or she was like, oh my God. Or she'd be like, that's an old one. Like there are a couple lines in there where she's like, you did that a long time ago. And then you stopped and then you brought it back. And then there are other ones where she's like, that's hilarious. And then she'll miss like the bigger punchline because she just thought the smaller one was funny because we have the same weird sense of humor. So like lines I kept in more for me, she really appreciated. And she liked it overall a lot. So that made me feel better as well. Because she's like, a wonderful, talented, amazing lawyer person who I trust very much. So.
It's always great to have those. Is she the same type of friend who would you believe her? Do you always believe her? Would she criticize you, or like would she kind of give you a note if there was a note to give, or she's just that go-to friend who's just gonna?
No. She would tell me because she knows I want that. Like I'm very much open to feedback, which maybe I shouldn't be as open.
Is she the same friend you would go to for like heartbreak?
Oh yeah. Oh my God, yeah. I've talked to her so many times over the years because she's been with the same person since like, oh my God, maybe since we were like 22. I think it's been like 7 years maybe. And I have been in a few relationships in that time. And every like year and a half, I'm like, I'm really sorry you have to do this every year and a half.
It's that time.
Like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
So, but do you think, Amanda and I were talking about this earlier. Do you think the person who's had been in and out of some relationships, maybe a year and a half, whatever. You learned some, got it wrong, I guess, but did you? Who knows? And then your friend, stable, 20, since she was 22, who's better
at relationships?
At relationship advice.
Her. I think it's her.
At giving the advice for like the do's and don'ts. Because like maybe it's just she won the relationship lottery with her partner.
That's so funny. I was just thinking about that this morning where I was like, am I even qualified to be giving advice on relationship stuff? Because I was thinking about this podcast because I'm like, you're just in relationships for like a year to 2 years and maybe that's not good. I think in terms of like watching out for red flags,
what
maybe.
You learned,
Yeah, what you learned. And then like I have a lot of friends like that who have been with their partners for years and years. And I think they're good for providing perspective once you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
more so than like the beginning stages of meeting someone because they haven't done that for a while.
Like how helpful is like the person who's married their high school sweetheart going to like help you out with the dating apps in a situationship you might find yourself? But like he just acts like my boyfriend, but he's never there.
Yeah, my buddy Dustin Nickerson, who goes on the road with me and is very funny. He's been married since he was 19. And he's never been through a breakup, not one time. And can't help you. He can help you with like relationship advice because he's been in a successful marriage for so long. But like if you're like dating and you need help, like it's not, if you're going through a breakup, he's like, I'm sorry. But he can't be like, I know exactly how you feel.
There's a kind of like, get over it eventually.
No, it's not even get over it. It's just like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I literally don't know how this feels, which is insane to me that anybody could be like, I don't know what it's like to be broken up with.
It's a weird thing not to have experienced.
Yeah. He's a unicorn in that way.
It's a funny thing. It's one of the few things that when it's happening, especially the first time, it truly does feel like it will kill you.
Oh yeah.
It feels like you won't survive it.
Yeah.
And then when the first time it happens, you're like, I truly don't think I'll get over it. And it's one of those things. You're not in control of. You can't control it because you can't control someone who breaks up with you. You can't control how people. You just can't control it, and so we feel so helpless. And
you can't control something not being right. Even if you're the one who leaves, like people think like if you're the one who leaves, you can't be sad sometimes. And you're like, it is very hard to be the person who leaves also. Because then you also second guess yourself.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to like do the mature thing. Or like not,
You sprinkle some guilt on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot.
And yeah, I see it in the TikToks too. Like, I'll give some sort of advice about something and some sort of like, hey, listen, like maybe there's another way to look at it type of thing.
Right.
And there's always a handful, and you can tell it's someone with a broken heart comes in and it's like, but I did that, or they did, it's like how their situation is different, and they're just pure evil.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know. But like, there's a real sense of like hatred and anger, and like it's comes from because that person probably feels like they won't survive this pain.
Yeah, yeah. And every time you go through a breakup, you're like, oh my God, I should get paid time off. Like this is so brutal. Like mentally, emotionally, physically. Like you forget, like physically, you're fucked up.
Yeah,
you're like, this is insane that we talk to our friends. Like if you're in a happy relationship and your friend goes through a breakup, you're like, oh, I feel so bad for them. But it never quite hits you how bad it is until you go through it again. And then you're like, oh my God, I should have been sending them flowers every hour. Yeah. I should have driven to them like 3 states away. I should have been there. Like it's really, really crazy how you forget.
And you only fall asleep out of pure physical exhaustion. And then you wake up, and there's always that like moment when you first wake up, and it's there's like a 0.1 seconds of like forgetting that you're heartbroken, and then you remember that you're heartbroken, and you literally feel the body like a gas tank fill up with anxiety, and it's like another fucking day.
Right? You're like, oh, that's right, day 11.
Yeah.
Or you're still counting down. When you go through a breakup, and you're like, it's been 12 days of no contact. Like you're just counting.
Now. Have you had more than one broken heart?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Some people say now.
Do people only have one? I guess I just talked about my friend who hasn't gone
I think it ranges. Some people.
I guess that's true. I mean, I have friends who, like I have a friend who just turned 30 and like met her soulmate and is so happy. And before that, she was like, I don't know if I've ever been in love, really. And so everybody has different experiences. I think I've been in love a few times.
Because the pain of heartbreak that when it happens, it's always the same and is bad. But getting through it a couple times, the best part is it like at least now you will survive it.
And
totally. That goes a long way.
Yes.
It doesn't help that pain in the moment, but you just know, okay, like I don't know when.
Right.
But I can. And the worst part about heartbreak the first time is not knowing you can makes it longer.
Yeah.
Because you don't even consider the possibility that you can.
Yes.
So you don't even consider the possibility of accepting the reality that maybe this isn't the best fit for you. You will just like fight through it. You know, it's like that fight or flight. You know, you can't, like when our body goes into this shock of like heartbreak, it's just kind of this literal fight or flight thing. And we can't fly away from our pain. So we'll just fight for the thing that we thought could like make us happy.
Yeah.
And it's why it sucks.
Yeah.
But knowing you can is helpful.
Yeah. But then every breakup you go through, you're like, well, that was my last chance, I think. Like, you never feel like you're going to fall in love again. You're like, I think I'm just dead inside now. I think that was it. I think that one broke me. And you're always wrong.
Yeah. I think it's just different.
Yeah.
I think you just fall in love different. At least for me. I had it's just not like, it's not falling in love for the first time or like on The Bachelor. You know, it's not this crazy intense, like, let's just forget common sense.
Yeah.
And then when you get older, you're just like, but I have expectations now. And like, I don't like that. And like, ugh. And then it's like a slower like burn.
Right. Yeah.
I used to get worried about that. Like, will I ever fall in love again? And then I thought to myself, I guess maybe I should just pick someone and make it work. You know?
I know you do feel like that. Where you're like, everyone's going to have their stuff. Like, why don't I just make it work over here?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm the problem, but definitely I'm annoying, you know, like they seem nice. Like, what am I looking for? I don't know. Am I ever going to fall in love? I was 18 when I felt like that, you know, like.
I feel like your stand-up talks, like one thing, especially in quarter life crisis, that a lot of people respond to is kind of like acknowledging that like in your 20s, you are deeply, deeply flawed. And I'm curious, like within the context of breakups or just like love in general, how you find that balance of like calling yourself out on your bullshit and holding yourself accountable while also not letting people convince you that you're always the problem and like holding others accountable.
Oh, dude, it's so hard. I think it's just a lot of therapy. It's a lot of like asking your therapist, like, okay, am I being unreasonable? Am I a bad person? Like, you see me an hour a week, you probably know, right? Like, am I a bad human being? I've been both people in relationships where like, I think that they're the problem and I, you know, won't get past certain things, or I think like I'm so much better. And then I've been the person who has very low self-esteem and thinks I'm the problem and thinks that if I just change a bunch of stuff about me, they'll like love me the right way or in the way that I need them to. And that's what's so frustrating about your 20s is like every 2 years you're a different human being and you're in a different relationship and you're like, it was my fault the last time, but it's not this time, but I didn't think it was last time. Yeah. And so maybe I'm still the problem. Like, it's really hard to strike that balance between like calling yourself out on your shit, as you said, and also standing up for yourself and not letting people walk all over you or put in way less effort than you because you're so desperate to be loved or you feel so guilty about how you handled the last relationship. Like, I've done that where I felt like I wasn't a great partner in my last relationship. So then in my next relationship, I will like put up with anything because I go, well, I deserve this treatment as like penance for the last one. I carry a lot of like guilt for anything I've ever done wrong, even by accident. And it just eats away at me forever. So
Were you religious growing up?
Yeah.
Catholic.
Yeah. No, I still feel bad for having sex at all. So I think that it's really tough to make sense of what are unrealistic expectations and what is not. And all you really have sometimes is like your friends are in healthy relationships and you go, well, I know that I can have that because so-and-so's partner does it. Or like, have you ever done the thing where you tell your friends about something that your partner did and you're like, but I understand why, because I am really hard to be with. And like, of course they feel that way. And of course they said that to me. And your friend's like, are you okay? Like, because you know, like my partner does what you do and I just understand and hug them. Like, you know what I mean? Or you're like, oh, I understand why they're not great to me about this. And then you talk to somebody else who's like, you can find somebody who is okay with that and knows how to handle it.
when I was younger.
Yeah.
When I was younger and trying to desperately to make certain relationships work. They would be like, Mitch, maybe that's just not great.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're obnoxious, but like, nevertheless, I don't know if I'd put up with that.
Yeah.
Like, you
you're a lot, but you're not like bad.
Yeah. I don't know if it deserves this.
Right.
That seems aggressive.
Yeah, exactly.
We compromise with ourselves a lot, but it's tough because you're right. Think about it. Like my parents have this relationship, and it's like even good role models can be bad role models.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, fuck. Well, my mom and dad just told me it's not always easy. You got to work through the hard times. Got to fight for love, and you got all these rom-coms, and like they're just like toxic as shit, yelling at each other, and they made it work.
Yeah.
And we don't ever question that. Why? Because we always see the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, well, I just got to get to the end of the movie. We're just in the second act.
Yeah.
That's all,
I know. How old were you when you realized you're not supposed to fight like they do in movies? You're like, uh-oh, that's not good.
I honestly think as a society, we've only recently realized.
Yeah.
I think like recently in the past 5 years with all these podcasts and talking about boundaries and learning about words like, love bombing and breadcrumbing and just the word toxic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I think in these past 5 years, and you put it back on and be like, fucking Carrie Bradshaw's a monster.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it's stuff like that, or The Notebook or whatever. It's just like, that was terrible.
Oh yeah. The Notebook is a tragedy that she left James Marsden. That's like the saddest part of the film.
Noah is a fuckboy.
Oh, Noah's crazy.
He's insane.
Yeah.
And most of us forget that we're not Allies. We're just all a bunch of Marthas wanting to have a Allie love story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that part where they're like in the truck, like yelling at each other, and then they start making out. And the narrator's like, they had one thing in common. They fucking fought all the time, but they also fucking couldn't keep their hands off each other. And you're like, this is not good.
Really unhealthy.
Yeah.
But yet, we all loved it. We're all just like, oh, what a good love story. Even when we watch it now, we'll still get the feels. And that's because we know they end up in love.
Yeah.
Such a toxic message. And yet it was our playbook for so long.
Yeah, but then it's hard because then you talk to a lot of people who've been in successful relationships for a long time, and the beginning was maybe rocky, or they had one thing. But like, do you believe that thing people say of like, it should be super easy for like the first year?
I believe that more than I did back in the day. Should we get into some pop culture stuff?
Let's do it. Okay. So we're going to start with the one that is the most love-oriented, which is that Bumble dating app is acquiring the French dating app Fruits, which has grown in popularity amongst Gen Z. And the most important thing to know about Fruits is that this app lets users to choose to sort of specify what they're looking for by choosing a fruit. So you can have peach, which is kissing
Ass?
relationship.
Oh, sorry. What?
Yeah, butt stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was just like. That's
that's the first one right out the gate.
Yeah.
Do I have to learn my emojis?
I'm like, they know there's like a kissy emoji, right? Like you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
We have cherry, which is looking for a long-term relationship, and then watermelon, which is friends with benefits, etc. Thoughts on this model of dating? What do we think about?
God forbid you just write it out. Like, really? We had to pick emojis
Also,
for want a relationship?
The cherry? I'm like, they all have weird connotation. We got the peach, which is a butt. Cherry reminds me of like being a virgin.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one?
Watermelon.
Watermelon just reminds me of boobs.
Yeah.
Is that just me?
Yeah, I'm kind of like,
the other one's going to be like an eggplant or something.
Seriously, that's what I
why
thought.
isn't like down to fucking eggplant? Like,
Well, it's fruits. It's got to be. I don't think an eggplant is a fruit.
not vegetables. Oh,
Not
so it's
vegetables.
fruit.
Yeah.
Is that all?
That's right. It's called fruits. It's not fruits and vegetables.
Is there like a profile? I mean,
This has the same energy as those parties in college that were like the stoplight parties. So you'd wear either red, yellow, or green based on your current relationship status. It's a lot of work.
that makes more sense.
I'm a huge advocate of upfront expectations, but like sometimes this is a way of like not totally doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Of like sitting down and be like, so what do you like? What are you into? Like, what should we do? They're like, no, the fruit is going to like And I can just see a lot of 2-week relationships that end be like, but you said you were looking for a watermelon.
Not a peach.
Like, what the fuck? I don't know. It's
just a cutesy way of doing it, I guess.
I feel like I would just forget what they all mean constantly.
Oh, I know.
I really think it's gonna. I think sometimes these apps, like there was that one where you could rate people, and that went.
Lulu's?
Yeah, I think
What?
you could rate people.
It was like for women.
It got real.
It was like
women could rate men. It got toxic real fast.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
I think when we talk about this, it's important to say that I think in dating society, it is really hard for women to know which kind of guys will be incredibly dangerous. And so I think there is a storied history of women trying to warn other women about dangerous behavior.
Yes.
That being said, while this app might have been started kind of with that intention of sisterhood, warning people about bad guys, it got burn book real quick in Mean Girls.
Real mean, fat shaming, body shaming,
yikes.
He's a weirdo.
Oh, that's so sad.
It was
I mean, why can't this app just be the only question we ask you is what are you looking for? I mean, is that kind of the idea? I mean, is there other stuff you put on fruits? Is it just a picture with one of those emojis?
You have to pose with the fruit
no
itself.
name.
Yes,
You don't have a name. There's also grapes as an additional category, which are one night stand.
I thought that was going to be polyamory.
Yeah, because there's many on one night.
yeah. Grapes.
It's I think we need to redesign the system. It's here's some punch ups for you.
Their fruit choices are all off. Yeah.
It's I want to download it right now and understand.
It's like a very marketable, cute thing, but I feel like who's gonna say I'm looking for a one night? Do people say I'm looking for a one night stand?
I think
don't one night
do.
stands just kind of happen?
I think people put just looking for fun, nothing serious.
On other dating apps, you can say not looking for anything serious, which I always assume can be just a one and done situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a consistent.
Does not looking at anything serious mean? So what is the in between where I just want to keep it casual, but I might introduce you to my parents.
I need a date to my brother's wedding, but that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
Yeah.
I think
dating's horrible.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I imagine with fruits, because I feel like it becomes, as much as there are people going into dating with different intentions, there just become these platitudes and buzzwords that become what everybody conceives of as the chill thing to say and what they're supposed to say. And then everybody just says the same thing. So I feel on fruits, it would just be there's one that's enormously chill that everybody begins to put.
Yeah.
And then we lose the system.
I mean, I'm excited for Bumble because I feel it's going to give us some rich content. But all right, what fruit was he before you guys went on a date?
Yeah. Also, do they are they on their fourth date and they're I started out as a grape, but through this date you've turned me to a watermelon.
Yeah.
Is there do they have updates?
Yeah, it starts as a grape, turns out there are cherries. I don't know.
Okay, pivoting to the next topic. So there's been a lot of Kanye drama, but the piece that I would like to discuss is him getting mad at Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish
Wait, he's in a fight with Billie Eilish?
Correct.
Yeah, he called out something that she said in regards to Travis Scott, which is that Billie Eilish at one of her shows, there was a fan who was in need of an inhaler or who was in any way, had some kind of medical stuff going on. And Billie Eilish paused and was I wait for people to be okay before I keep going. I think very obviously referencing Astroworld, a festival where there are incredibly unsafe conditions, and Travis Scott received a lot of criticism
people
for
died.
for not stopping when there were people young, there's bodies in the audience. So my question to Taylor was sort of,
would I stop a show if someone was
dying?
Yeah.
That's
the easiest questions I've ever answered.
What do you think in terms of Billie Eilish calling out somebody else in the industry? As a comedian, to what extent do you feel it is your job, place, or responsibility to use your platform to acknowledge or call out bad behavior from your peers?
Yeah.
But I would even note, just before you answer, she never said his name. She never called him out directly. It could be implied, but I think that is a difference too. She never named him.
She's I help people who are need. Or
there was a bit of a tone of, in comparison to something else, I would say, having listened to her say it.
Did the fans immediately cheer in response to what she knew she was? Yeah, okay.
Didn't someone else do
Not that matters either.
But I would also say there's been, when Astroworld happened, people started posting videos of other artists that had taken the time to be safe. And she had done this before Astroworld even happened.
But
for a different show, she was like, security, where are you at for whatever was unsafe?
Yeah.
So she has a habit of stopping to take care of
Also,
people.
like, what's the criticism?
Yeah.
That she did that? What's Kanye upset about?
He says she needs to apologize to Travis Scott or else he won't perform at Coachella with her.
This is just someone like trying to be in the news, I think. Like I'm worried
about his mental health.
I'm so mad I know another thing about Kanye. Like I'm so bored. I'm so bored. Like, okay, don't perform that. Like, what do you I don't know.
Okay, so on the topic of not caring, the Olympics are happening. Does anybody care about the Olympics anymore?
Did you ever used to watch it? No.
I don't. I mean, I'm sure some people care.
It's not as much as it used to be. It used to be like a family event.
Yeah. Well, there's so much content now. Like there's so much stuff you can watch
That is true. It has to do with that.
You can watch all the Olympics now.
Yeah.
You can watch any
binge the
Olympics.
Olympics.
You can binge the Olympics if you want. So why would we?
I mean, that's what people do. They just like scroll through. I think that's what it is. You're just like, especially if it's like overseas, like it's in taking place in China. So like now it's just like, you know who won, and it's just like the hype and the anticipation's not there. Because I remember like back in the day, like Nancy Kerrigan, that was like a family event when we got to like watch her take second, you know, Oksana Viall won. Like I remember this stuff. I remember the names. It was like a big deal. And now I don't know a single name of a single Olympian except from Shaun White, the snowboarder guy.
Right. Yeah.
And that's because he was around back when the
and
Olympics
I
were
feel,
relevant.
it's kind of like, I actually said this and I was like, should we watch the Olympics? And then we just didn't.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
I'm
it's
not.
fun.
I know.
Like
You're
them.
super into it?
Not like super into it, but like I've watched it the last few days. I think I like playing the game. This was inspired by TikTok, but specifically for the ice dancing and the figure skating portions when they have duos of figuring out if I think they've hooked up with each other or if they have any sort of sexual tension or if I'm like, nope, one of you is for sure gay. Like I like playing those little mind games as I watch them interact.
You make it fun for yourself.
Exactly.
The sex stories out of the Olympic villages are always apparently epic.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of high trained athletes.
Bunch of Olympians.
Oh my
They gotta let it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Apparently they like give them condoms. I heard that.
Think, I think it's like a.
I mean, they do that at college. So I would hope they did that at the Olympics.
And also, there are a lot of them are like college age.
Yeah.
You're at your peak kind of athletically in your early 20s.
Yeah.
And all these people have like, they don't probably have dating lives.
Yeah.
They're too hyper focused on trying to be Olympians.
Right.
So all of a sudden you're just like, wait.
That's why I feel like the ice skaters fall in love.
Well, it's also like, isn't the Olympics all about like coming together, like many different countries competing in one thing? So it's like nothing's good for diplomacy. Like a bunch of people getting married.
Do you
like,
think when people are hooking up, you think it's more like Americans knowing each other? Or you're just like, you know what? It's my one and only time to like get international here. And
yeah, like I'm going to hook up with this girl from Cyprus.
yeah,
Like, who knows?
that seems like it would be more fun.
I mean, now I want to watch the Olympics just to figure out who's hooked up.
Isn't it fun?
That's like your own Olympics.
Yeah.
Your own separate Olympics.
Or
Sexual
the
tension.
costumes. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you're just turning the Olympics into The Bachelor.
Yeah. Yep.
Or Bachelor Island or whatever the one is where everybody's been on The Bachelor. And
Paradise.
Paradise, thank you. Sorry.
I like Bachelor Island though. That's fun.
But that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Is it an island or it's
No.
just somewhere
It's in Mexico.
hot?
Beach.
It's a beach. Okay.
It's just a beach.
All right.
And that is a great topic for our mediation callers.
Is it time?
Oh.
Our
Yeah.
favorite
Time for
internet
mediation.
couple. Yeah.
This is our first, we got like an internet celebrity couple calling in.
I love them. It's a day in the life of a stay-at-home husband. Hey, tough guys. And he has this little Dyson.
Oh, you're big fans of them. I've been told about them.
I love them.
Yeah, well, they're calling in. How's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
Great. Well, let's start with names.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Maya.
And I'm Hunter.
Hunter and Maya. And you guys have,
Yep.
for those of you who don't know, you guys are a big hit on TikTok. Allie, my associate producer. We promoted Allie and Amanda to associate producers. Congratulations. Allie's a big fan of yours.
I love you guys.
Oh no.
Day in the
Oh
life
my
of a
God.
stay-at-home husband with the Home Depot music. Like you wave that Dyson around. Let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
awesome.
that. Thank you so much.
Needless to say, though, but you guys are call again. Who wants to start? What's the problem? Who's going to tell the story first?
Yeah, totally. So we've got a problem that has a little bit of a backstory, if we can give you some context.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so we started dating. We met actually the first day of high school.
Yeah.
And then
freshman year.
Started freshman year.
14 years old.
Didn't start dating until the beginning of sophomore year, though. So we had a little buffer period there.
Got to get all that sex out of the way.
Exactly.
Of course. Yeah.
Our wild years.
Got to live out the wild year of 14 before we started. So we started dating very young, and then dated all throughout high school. And I had very strict parents. I was not allowed to date. So during that time of the development of our young relationship, Maya had to fend off unapproving parents. And so as we've gotten older and we started dating throughout college, we went abroad together, and we just got married this last summer.
How old are you guys now?
Relationship
24.
24.
Okay.
Everybody on TikTok that I think is my age is 24. Every single person.
No, that's so common because I'll think people are my age too, and they're like a completely different age.
Well, we get comments all the time. We're like, I thought you guys were 30. And it's like, yeah.
Thanks.
Because you're so together. Your life's so together.
Yeah.
So basically during that time, Maya had to deal with my parents, who were very unapproving. They have a good relationship now, but our conflict really stems from the idea that we faced this past holiday season. At the first holiday season that we had as a married couple, where we had to figure out how to split the holidays. And that was really tough because before we were married, it was kind of easy just to I'll do this with my family. You do that with your family. We'll kind of mix when we can. And now we're very much a package deal. So this past Christmas and this past Thanksgiving, it was hard, and it got into a little bit of a conflict between the two of us.
And for context, both of our families live like 25 minutes apart. So we're kind of expected to be at both places each time. It's not like we can kind of like split the whole day, you know?
Do you guys have kids?
No.
We do not.
You don't have kids.
No, they have a successful TikTok account.
Okay, yeah.
TikTok. Time for both.
TikTok's the baby.
We've got a dog on the balcony. If that's
Great. And how much is this an issue? Are you guys already anticipating what's Easter's the next big? Easter's coming up.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
I feel like it's not really it's not the biggest issue in the world, but it's kind of like a reoccurring one because every time a holiday comes around, it's still kind of okay, let's negotiate this. Let's get into it.
And are you guys fighting with each other about it?
It gets to that. There were during, it's weird because we like to pride, and I think this is why it's a conflict that we bring up today, is because we like to pride ourselves on being able to resolve our issues pretty quickly and easily, and communicating. We're big on let's communicate our expectations with each other.
Yeah.
But when it comes to family and like I said, there's that backstory and that context of maybe some hurt feelings of the past that come up whenever we start arguing about it, and we have to decide what to do. It's weird how we can get kind of extra defensive when talking about family members.
Did you, a question, before you guys got married, did you have a talk with his parents about all the shit you gave? Was there ever hey, remember the time you treated me like I was some sort of monster because you didn't want your son to date? And by the way, I'm his wife now. Did you ever have or I'm about to be, there was no
No.
Do you wish you could get an apology?
Honestly, that is something that I wish could have happened maybe.
Yeah.
And I do have a good relationship with them, and we all kind of joke about remember, but it's not really there was never kind of a full, official, let's bury the hatchet.
How many
But
fights?
they like you now.
Yeah.
I think.
You
right?
think?
They do.
Did you grow up really religious, or were they just strict? What religion?
There it is, Taylor. That's where we relate.
That's why we love your stuff.
I was gonna say, I feel this is what my life should have looked like if I was better. You grew up religious.
If God had his way.
Yeah. Did you grow up super Christian?
Yes.
Okay. And are you guys still Christian?
Yes.
Okay.
Not quite as conservative.
Not as to the roots as to our graduating class.
Does his parents blame you for that? That quite not as much. If they were to listen to this, be like that fucker.
Wait. So let me get this straight. You grew up really religious. You're still religious. Yep. You're married to someone else who is religious. You've only been with each other. You married the person that you were dating in secret. Your parents should have a statue of her. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That's insane. Like, that's great. Like, the fact that you're like, I think they like me. They should be just like carrying you into Christmas on their shoulders.
Yeah, they're
like you just won the Super Bowl.
They should be able to go to like their church friends and be like, "Did your son and daughter do it right? Because mine fucking did."
Yeah,
and like,
you guys are what every Christian parent wants.
I'm not gonna lie, that did cross my mind.
Yeah, you want the credit. Yeah,
she had the proposal of the statue.
I don't want to be petty, but I did think of it.
However, yep.
And that's the crazy thing that really like kind of fuels the conflict when it reoccurs is that I see all of that as valid.
Yeah,
and I see that, and I still have a feeling of defensiveness. And to give my parents
a little, get that because I feel like it's so easy to like be like, oh yeah, my parents have so many flaws, and then when someone else says it, you're like, those are my parents. Yeah. Like, what do you mean?
And to give my parents. Yeah. To give my parents a little bit of credit, because I'm sure they're going to listen to this.
I know. Love you guys. Totally.
But you know, when we started dating so early on, the odds are against
it. Yeah.
And you know, I think that their worst fears became less as time went on. But I do think there was a little bit of stubbornness involved. I do think there was like a feeling of like, well, this is where we put our foot down. So we kind of got to leave it.
We got to die on.
Well, that's why I asked the question. It's like, I totally get, like, how do you know? I mean, like, if I don't have kids, but I definitely plan on when my like son or daughter who's 14 or 15, like gets a girlfriend to be like, this definitely won't be your person. You know,
and we probably will too.
Yeah. And like, so like, don't not do your homework because they don't call you back. Like, but you guys ended up together, and I'm just surprised. That's why I asked. Like, it would still be nice to get that, like, hey, sorry we kind of gave you a hard time. Yeah. We're so grateful to have you in our son's life. Thank you for, like, making us rock stars at church.
Truly. Like... You have your parents call my parents.
We'll
be grateful. They're like, our son dated at 14. They're like, you want to see our kid's Netflix special? Fuck off with that shit. Sorry.
And that's the problem with my parents though, is that they are like not communicative really at all. Yeah. And we have developed a very communicative relationship, I think almost in contrast and kind of to spite like what I wish I had. And so like they probably do feel the feelings of like, even on our wedding day, they like hinted at feelings of like, by the way, like we like, this is great. Like we're supportive.
Just never really.
But there was never that verbal confirmation of that apology or what you're saying of like, you know, we misjudged or we wish we hadn't done this a certain way.
So as going back to the original conflict, you provided that backstory. So I'm assuming on your part, are you kind of like, hey, his parents weren't super cool earlier, so mine should take priority at Christmas? Is there a little bit of that?
Like, do you think you have the fun family, and therefore should we should hang out the fun family?
That's spot on. Yeah.
Like, why would we go to like your parents are so like not talking.
Yeah.
You're like, look,
your guys' intuition is flawless.
Yeah,
by the way.
Right on the spot.
His family's giving like Christmas Eve energy, and you're giving like, we get Christmas morning.
Let's get drunk on Christmas. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like too, there's a little bit of, because his parents were so strict, he kind of was like globbed onto my family.
Yeah.
So we hung out with my family a lot, and like he quarantined with us. Like it was kind of just like he became like more a part of my family than like I was able to become of theirs too.
Yeah.
And they have little kids still. So it's like, you know, they're kind of, we never really got to like fully form the family like he did with us. Mm-hmm. So there's like a little bit of that.
Well, and a classic line she'll use is that it's like, it's like, well, you're like so close with my family anyway, because I am like, I got to be really close with them. And so it's like, what's going to is it off your nose?
It's like weirdly dismissive, like feel like, but like my parents gave me life. I feel like I should.
Right.
You're like, yeah, we'll be fine. You know,
whatever though.
No, totally. That's happens. I think that happens a lot. I think often in relationships, there's like the slightly more fun family. It's kind of common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And if you have two delightful families, like that's a win. But that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know anybody like that. I don't know anybody and it sounds like your parents are lovely as well. I'm not sitting here going like, his parents sound like they suck, but it just sounds like you guys are more, as you said, like, you know, enmeshed together, like you quarantined together, which I'm sure is hard for his parents that he didn't quarantine with them. And so now they're like Christmas forever. Like we get Christmas forever.
Yeah,
totally.
But yeah, well, it's like we adopted him. So now he's just, what do you mean you're not going to be there at Christmas? God forbid our now son-in-law, but our daughter.
Yeah.
Like and then they're like, but no, we have to. So how did you guys handle Christmas this year?
Well, so we had a cop out because it actually never got resolved because his family all got COVID.
Yeah.
So we didn't.
So
get
we
to hang
spent
out with
all
them.
of the holiday with
fought
their
for
family.
nothing, but then
Fought for nothing. So it's coming back around at Easter.
Yeah, Easter's coming up. Yeah. So like, I mean, obviously the simple solution is like trade. You know, like I'm super close with my family, and this Thanksgiving was the first time I haven't gone home on Thanksgiving in a long time because like Natalie's Thanksgiving's a big deal for her, like not only her like immediate family but her extended family, and that was like for me, like I'm not saying we'll do that every Thanksgiving, but it was like I hadn't really met her like whole family, so it like made sense, and I was like, I'll go do this now. It's a little different. I'm older now, and like I don't like with you guys still being 24. You're not that far removed from like still being in the house. Your parents are there's an expectation of you being there. I think when you're like in your early 20s, like I'm older now. I'm just like, this is what I'm gonna do. Mom and dad, deal with it. Sorry,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
And also 25 minutes apart, you guys can see them both on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I know that's like a lot for you guys.
Yeah.
But you do have the option, which is like, because a lot of people, it's like, are we going to go home to Boston or are we going to stay in Albuquerque? You know, like a lot of people have that issue. So you guys are really fortunate in that your families are so close that even if you're like, we don't really want to pack up this car and leave one house and go to the next one in the same day, you can do that.
Yeah. I think I feel like we were going to say the same thing. I feel like sometimes though, we kind of wish maybe we lived further apart because like, then somehow there's both sides of our family being like, well, we want morning. Like we want Christmas morning.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there's like kind of, it almost makes it like more complicated that we can't be like, oh, well, we'll be in, you know, wherever, like across the state.
I think I fuel the problem in my flaws because I am very like good Christian boy, have to please my parents. Like I like have to like, because even though
I mean, you're only 24, you got to go to 15 years left before you're really unaffected by it.
Yeah. I'm 28. It doesn't get better.
Yeah. I think it gets a little better.
It gets a little better. You just get used to pushing it down.
So even though I know that I like what all her points are valid, it's like I still have this feeling of like, and maybe I do want to spend the majority of a certain holiday with her family because we have something planned that's going to be fun. But I still have this feeling in my like soul that I'm just like, oh no, I'm disappointing my family. You know?
Same, I think with mine.
Yeah, and I don't think in this like no one's right or wrong. Like the problem, what sucks for you, Hunter, correct me if I'm wrong, is that like you also like do have fun with her family. So there's that part of you, like you said, it's like, well, yeah, it's, you know, oh fuck, we're gonna like fucking Scrabble, you know, like I don't want to miss Scrabble, like, you know. And
it's okay. Our Christian families do drink, and we don't just play Scrabble.
No, I know, but whatever it is, but there's a bond there that you have.
Yeah.
But like, her points aren't right just because you have fun. Like they are, it's still your family. So your point, like, I'm sure your parents are fun. You enjoy them. It's like you're pulled between two places. So like, it's just, the reason why I asked if you had kids. and I don't know if this is a crazy solution, but like, what if
you just have a kid?
Well, not only that, but like, no,
it's
like
just Christmas at our house.
I think in these situations, because again, both parents, both families feel like they're still your kids, which you will always be. And because you don't have kids, it's just like you're still part of their family traditions.
Yeah.
And you have yet to like develop your own traditions. And I sometimes feel like a great thing that like young couples can do if they're interested to like set kind of boundaries with both parents is just to be like, you know what, mom and dad, we're doing our own thing this morning. And then it's just going to be us. And you do your thing, and you don't show up to either. You let both families know because we're going to start building our own traditions. And maybe you go in the afternoon or whatever. But I think that this kind of sets this is about us. And when we have kids, it's going to be our family. And we'll eventually bring the kids over or whatever. But like, I come from a large family. I don't know if you guys know that. And so like, there was just too many I have 10 siblings. There were too many kids that like family was at our place. So like my parents just made their own tradition and everyone kind of revolved around them. And I just, even if you don't have kids, I think you can still say Easter, we're going to do our own thing and celebrate our own thing. And then and that way I think parents start realizing they're going to take what they can get. But I think parents have to learn with their kids until their kids finally say, you just have to accept what I'm willing to give you. Parents will always expect all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
That's,
And I think parents
That's really good advice, actually,
I think it's a weird thing that parents have to learn. They gave you life. They raised you. They were your whole world. And now as an adult, I empathize. I don't know how it is to be a parent, but I can only imagine what it'd be like to be like, I guess I can't tell you what to do anymore. Fuck, and all this work they gave you, right or wrong, even if it was like some bad advice, they tried their best or whatever version of it. And I think they just have to learn how to be told no.
No.
And like setting your own tradition might be a great and it's really early for you guys because you don't have kids and you might as well just go to but like, I don't know, it could work. It might be nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's honestly really great advice.
That's really good.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay, I just had a perspective because I'm not in a relationship, but my sister is currently engaged to her high school sweetheart. They've been dating for 12 years. Aww. So I've watched this happen every holiday season of this kind of back and forth because they're both, again, they live close by, which makes it even harder because of the fact that both families want them there. And I would say going along with Nick's thing of kind of, putting your feet down and telling them, no, this is how it's going to happen. I think also there's a benefit to creating a system that works and sticking with it, because then it doesn't feel like every time December comes around, it's will they, won't they, when are we here, when are we there, to the point now where 12 years later, and maybe this will change when they're married, but I know every Christmas, Patrick's going to come over to our house for the Christmas Eve party. Marissa's going to go with them because they do Christmas Eve night with his family. Then Marissa will come back, do Christmas morning with us. He joins us Christmas, and it's the same every year. So in that way, no family is like, well, they have more time, blah, blah, blah. No, this is what we do. This is a Christmas tradition in and of itself. It's them flipping back and forth.
So and that's kind of similar to what basically you just got to start making your guys' rules, and then you don't, and you just tell them what the rules are. Yeah. And here's what we're doing. And you guys come up with those rules together without any input from mom and dad.
I mean, it's crazy because it's I feel like this became very much like a 3-party conflict, and my parents are now it's us versus them, and
also Hunter's parents. If you're listening, we think you're wonderful. We don't want to shit on you. Fun parents. And they know that. I actually got the okay from them. They came down for my birthday yesterday, we were like, hey, by the way, we're going to be talking about something, and they were like, okay. Maybe they're just more introverted family than it's that simple, honestly.
But I think if you guys go into the kind of scheduling and routine, taking into account what you prioritize and what makes the holidays best for you, and then also thinking about maybe one of your families has a regular tradition or has a party that's really important to them. If you create kind of a schedule or a tradition of you that both prioritizes what you enjoy and maybe what's really the most important to each of your families, I think everyone wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. And that's so much less stressful, not guessing what we're going to do each year. Totally. It just makes it so much better.
It takes the pressure off of us to even have a conflict in the first place. Because it's there's not even anything to figure out. It's just let's set the standard and then we abide by that standard.
Maya, have you ever had a one-on-one dinner with your mother-in-law?
No.
I didn't think so. Would you? What's that thought look like?
I feel like it would be fine. It would just be weird because it's never happened before. Like, I don't think, have we ever hung out alone?
No.
Yeah. So it would be a little weird, but I think it would be pleasant, you know?
It would be a step in the right direction, but it may be
well, that's the thing.
But
That's kind of, I kind of joked, brought it up jokingly, but like, it would probably go a long way. I mean, I know you guys are joking about it, but there's a grain of truth in the fact that like, you're, for whatever reason, not as close as you would like to be, certainly with your parents, and that Hunter is with your parents. And I think that's probably playing a huge role in the sense that like, hey, listen, you're just not as close. It's awkward for whatever reason. And maybe there's that like shit that you got, but like, I think, I don't know. It's like, I think there, it seems like there needs to be some sort of like awkwardness that you have to break through, or not like someone, maybe they'll listen to this podcast and be like, you know, Maya, we love you. We're so grateful.
That'll do it. I know they're probably going to text me and be like, hey.
Like, you're the best. But like, and then maybe you're not, you know, but like, there still seems to be that kind of like, I don't want to go and get judged.
And I think there's always been the thing of like, we both are just very extroverted and are very kind of outgoing and talkative and communicative, and they're a little bit more shy and introverted. So I always don't want to like push them too much, but maybe I should just push them a little bit.
And I struggle a lot. Maybe I should help her in that, but I struggle a lot. I
still want to make them uncomfortable.
I don't want to. As funny, as ironic as it is that I broke that I broke all the rules dating her. Like, I was always a rule follower, and I was always like doing things.
I relate.
So it like that gives me anxiety to do that, and I need to take that shift to be like, okay, this is my wife now, and I should be supporting her and like maybe resolving this so we don't have to keep dealing with this every year, every 6 months, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and they might be relieved. Like, if you guys bring it up, they may be like, oh my God, I'm so glad that you brought this up so we could have this talk.
Yeah, because I also think parents too, it's like, you know, I think they just assume. They assume that my kid should be there. I think most parents, not all, but most parents, I think if they realize they're giving their kid anxiety from their own selfish needs, will feel bad. Most.
Most.
But I really think it comes down to you guys being a united front and making your own traditions. And even if it's just in the interim before you like actually just spend Christmas morning alone with your kids or your dog, that you just like make up your own set of rules and just let everyone know you don't ask for, that might be harder for Hunter than Maya, but like, just be like, this is what we're doing, Mom and Dad. Let's hope it's okay. I think that would probably go a long way. Cause totally. Holidays are stressful enough to worry about. Like,
they really are.
Who's going to the Easter egg hunt?
Honestly.
But now we'll have to set the precedent before Easter happens.
We've got a couple months to figure that out.
Who, you guys go to church, I'm assuming, right?
Since the pandemic and like church not really being a thing, we haven't really gotten back into it. But
so when holidays, is there a family that expects you guys to go to church with them? Like, what family wants church?
Oh, that would be mine.
Yeah. But we don't usually go.
Yeah.
Wait, your family doesn't care about church?
No.
Well, there's a layup. Just give them that layup.
Give them church.
Give them church.
I know, yeah.
But
you don't even have to talk to them during church.
Christmas Eve service.
Yeah. Honestly,
yeah. There's some details there with the like why we avoid that, because technically the school we went to was associated with the church I went to growing up.
Yeah.
So we like try to just avoid that because it's like,
Then we run into everyone.
From high school, and it's like, but that's like apart from it, and it may be worth exploring just for the sake of giving my family a win.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's a good solution. I do have a question for you, for audience, and I get asked this a lot. And I honestly don't like. I'm always like stumped because I just make up an answer, I think, but I don't fucking know. I haven't dated someone that long. How do you guys keep the spark alive? Because I get questions like that all the fucking time. You guys have been dating since freshman year of high school. You seem very much in love. You seem like you're like excited to be around each other. Like, So how do you do it?
Yeah, help us.
Like how I feel like that's an area where you guys can have expertise on
give back
on staying very interested in one another.
Our biggest thing is communication, and now it's like a broken record a little bit, but we talk about this a lot. Is that when we feel something, we say it, and that can be annoying at times, and it can be a feeling that maybe should have been calmed down a little bit before it was communicated. But we tend to err on the side of airing it out.
Yeah.
Because then we always know who's on what page. And so when we get into the conflicts that we get into, and we're both are extroverted kind of people and we talk a lot. So it may be harder for more introverted type people to do this.
Yeah.
But with each other and our partnership, we always have a good gauge as to where the other person's at. And so when there is a disagreement, it's like, okay, I just need to meet you this far instead of being on the opposite ends of the book.
Yeah.
And so we just talk everything out. That's really what we do.
Yeah.
Can I ask a personal question?
Please.
Yeah.
Does the sex ever get boring? And like, what do you guys do to keep that spark alive?
Okay.
I feel like it doesn't get boring at all for me.
His parents are going to
turn it off.
Come on.
Hold on, they're answering the question.
This whole thing was about his parents. And they're like, our parents are definitely going to listen. We give them a heads up. We're like,
say no.
How's the sex?
So they can log off right now.
Yeah, mom and dad log off. This is a common question with couples who have been dating forever. And I'm just curious if they have some insight.
Well, okay. So Maya's resistant. The reason we got a little quiet is because we're resistant to say this because we think people won't believe us.
Yeah.
But we waited for marriage.
I definitely believe you guys.
I'm going to go.
It's just,
it can't get any more perfect.
It's obnoxious. Like we recognize that. It's the least cool thing to say.
So how long have you been married?
6 months.
Oh God, you guys are. Oh yeah,
no, it's not boring.
You're not you're not answering this question.
Never mind question.
Let me say why.
You're not the right person to answer this.
No, I want to hear why.
Yeah.
Let me say why. So it's not because the Bible tells us. There is
it's because our pastor told us.
It's because our pastor
and God told
and my
him.
parents.
Yeah. I had dreams about how.
So we both have infidelity on both sides of both families.
Yeah.
And
my parents are divorced.
Divorce and all this crap and affairs and nonsense, just stuff that was so hard to live through. And for us, it was very clear to us that if we could wait for each other and prove that to the other person, that when we were married and we had years and decades of time together, that it would be no doubt in our mind that we would only have that with each other because we waited 8 years for it. So why would we sacrifice that now?
When you say waited,
yeah.
How many bases?
We're not perfect.
Yeah. I know. I was about to say, like, I mean,
you guys got really good at foreplay, right?
But you liked my special, right? You get it.
Yeah. Oh,
you got all. I think you got the whole thing. You know?
Yeah.
So like, we waited, right? For sure.
Yeah.
But also,
we waited.
But also,
it was 8 years.
Did you guys ever like cross like did you guys like get 2 feet into the doorway and then walk back out?
Never the doorway.
You'd be like, oh wait, no, sorry. Like the first time you had sex, like I was like, did that ever? No.
Never the doorway, but we definitely were.
You were playing in the lawn, right?
We were in the diamond.
Yeah.
We were in the diamond.
You're like, well, technically, I wasn't all the way in the living room. We didn't have sex.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive. Don't get me wrong.
Still kind of cheating, but it's okay.
It's a little bit of cheating, but yeah.
I have friends from high school who were very religious and they like waited and they came and saw my show, I think before I filmed my special. And I remember my friend was like, we did wait. And I said, yeah, but like, and she was like, well, yeah, no, we were doing other stuff. And
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
I wouldn't believe us either. So.
Honestly.
I believe you. I just, I want to make sure like, because when you're growing up, this is a very triggering conversation for me. So I'm just thinking about like all the youth group conversations I had with youth pastors who were like,
oh my
you're
gosh.
only allowed to kiss and your bodies can't touch and your mouth has to be closed and not over 30 seconds. Like, I don't want anybody religious to hear this conversation and be like, it is possible to do absolutely nothing for 8 years. That's not a thing, guys.
It's not. No.
Okay.
Yeah,
but that's beautiful that you guys waited to have sex. That's really sweet.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's why the caveat is necessary because it's just what we chose to do for us and not because it was
I don't
like
think you like have to do that or anything. It was just kind of a like trust thing with us that was good.
You guys, you're a cautionary tale to the people looking for love because like you're too perfect, unfortunately, for everyone else.
Well, you are discouraging.
Yeah, you are. You're the exception of the rule that everyone wants to be.
We were literally
Photoshop
talking
of
about
couples.
They're the Photoshop of couples. We were talking about this earlier in the episode about people who had been together for like their whole lives and how we didn't know if they had great advice or not for people who were dating. And I think they did have really good advice.
Well, I think it just depends on what it is.
Yeah.
You know, because listen, when people call into our show, obviously they ask Nick, it's usually some version of like some fuck boys in there or some situationship or there's some ghosting or cheating and like, you know, how to keep a spark alive, how do you wait, how to like prioritize, how to communicate with somebody you've been in a relationship for 9 years. That's who I want to go to right there. But like it just depends on who it is.
Yeah,
I think sometimes it's annoying for people to get relationship advice for people who've been like, I married my high school sweetheart and let me tell you how to love. And it's just like,
it's unrealistic.
And we're happy to be, I guess, a contrast on the show. We were worried we'd come on and be a little too boring. So we're just happy.
This was great. I think
this was the perfect fit for me.
This was very relatable.
I'm so glad I was here for them.
Yeah. We heard that you were going to be on this one and we were like, we'll take that one.
So perfect.
It was
honored.
It was very relatable. I think most young couples, whether they're married or not, deal with this. I mean, truly, like that first love, you get excited. Part of like that first love feeling is just like, we're going to spend our holidays together. I want to meet my parents. And then it's just like, you're going to come to mine, right? And they're like, but I thought you were going to come to mine. And then all of a sudden it's not so perfect. So I think, it's very relatable. But you guys have the benefit of being married and you guys no one can say, that's the hard part for couples that aren't married that in your position. Parents are still then like, you're going to break up. You know, they don't really, they respect your relationship until it gets in the way of what they want. Parents. But because you guys are married, you can set that
leverage.
boundary and
totally
make your own, hopefully they respect that boundary.
I think so. I think we're there now. Now that we have holy matrimony on our side. And Nick.
Well, Hunter and Maya, thanks so much for calling in. You guys are great. I know you guys, if you guys love these two, follow them on TikTok.
Yeah, please. Yeah, give us a follow. We're at maya.and.hunter on TikTok and Maya Lepard on Instagram and Hunter Lepard on Instagram. And you can see more of us
being ridiculous,
being like this, I guess, on TikTok.
Well, thanks for calling into our mediation. I appreciate it.
Thanks for mediating.
For having us.
Appreciate it, Taylor. Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully this was
Ali,
helpful.
thank you.
Yeah.
No, it was definitely.
Definitely.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks so much. You guys have a great rest of your day. All right, bye, guys.
All right, Taylor.
They're so cute. I can't handle it.
That was. I always love how these all
so
work out.
wholesome.
You never really
So
know how it's
pure.
going to go, and it was a real issue.
Yeah, that was really sweet.
God,
that was really good
God
advice.
was in the room.
Yeah, that was really good advice you guys gave too.
You know, you watch your sister date someone for
it's a
12
team
years
effort.
and it happens.
Yeah. I mean, look, they would have been fine regardless.
Yeah.
That's America's
Sweet.
sweethearts right there.
They really. I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it. I get why.
Yeah.
You know why they're so lovable. Taylor, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're an absolute delight. And please remind people when your new special comes out, where they can find tickets, any local shows that you have coming up.
Go to ttomcomedy.com for ticket. And my new special comes out on Netflix March 8th called Look at You.
You'll definitely want to miss that. Taylor is an amazing comic. If you haven't heard her stuff, it's and Amanda she went to a wedding. I'm not going to make you feel bad, but she went to a wedding a couple weeks ago, and she texted me. She's like, "Hey, like, is it cool if I like don't make Monday?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And then I was like,
"Is it cool if I'm virtual on Monday?"
Yeah,
And then you very kindly were like, "Take the day off, like enjoy the wedding,"
take the day
because it
off,
was like
whatever.
it was it was MLK weekend, so the wedding was on like the Sunday night, and then you were gonna come in on the Monday.
And Amanda's like, no, I'm gonna fucking be there. And she drove down, and then
I woke up. I feel so bad the day after a wedding. The girl I was with, like, I woke her up at like 4 a.m. and I was like, let's go.
Oh my God.
I was driving from Sacramento.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, this is ideal. This is so much better. I was a shell of a woman that day. I was running on like 3 hours of sleep, like the wedding, heebie-jeebies, all that. So
oh my God, well,
this is perfect.
Honored that you made the drive. I'm sorry that I had to cancel. Oh, that's so nice.
But thank you so much for coming. And
thank you.
Go check out Taylor's shows. Check out our Netflix special. Follow her on Instagram. Wherever,
at Taylor Tomlinson.
At Taylor Tomlinson. Thanks for listening. Sending your questions at asknick@castme.com, cast with a K. Need those mediation calls. I think they go well. So like, just get your boyfriend or your husband. So it's the women are sometimes have a hard time getting the guys.
Right. Yeah.
But the guys think we're always going to pick on them. We never do. Anyway, send in those questions. And other than that, I think see you Monday.
You're crazy.
Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Mondays Ask Nick for your favorite relationship stories and advice, and our Tuesday Bachelor recaps. See you next time.